Good morning, it's February. This is a lay-by at the side of the 81. I'm going to do stage 2 of the West Highland Way today. From the Beech Tree Inn to the signpost near Conic Hill. And first thing I'm going to do is go to the Beech Tree Inn and get a coffee. This is the second in a series of videos of walking the West Highland Way in stages. The West Highland Way is a walking route starting in Milngavie near Glasgow and finishing 96 miles to the north in Fort William. I have split it into 14 sections, each of which can be walked individually and in a day. For this video, stage 2, we're walking the 8 miles from the Beech Tree Inn at Dumgoyne, walking past Gartness, Drymen, through the Garadbhan Forest, and stopping at a fork in the road near Conic Hill. Then I'm walking all the way back. This route is served by some local buses and there's plenty of places to park along the way, but I parked my car at the start in a lay-by on the A81. This was one of the first videos I ever recorded and I'm not very happy with some of the picture quality. I've since upgraded my equipment and so I was tempted to go back and film it again, but it's a learning process and I thought maybe this is me showing off my learning opportunities. One of the reasons I'm doing these videos is to try and fail and learn from my failings, so it is what it is. It's February morning's go, it's not actually that bad. I was pretty prepared to have a nasty morning, but fair weather walk, eh? What can I say? What do you think? Is it too soon to buy the t-shirt? Still a few more miles to go? So, stopped off at the cafe, coffee in hand, and this was the finishing point for stage 1, which is still not quite sure to myself, but it's got a wee dog there. So, let's pat the dog on the head, we'll put the coffee down, pat the dog in the head, and let's get on with it. So, reasonably priced coffee out of the way, let's get started. My name's Stewart and I'm walking the West Highland Way in stages. Why in stages? I'll go into a bit more detail in the first video, but basically I'm not a walker. I've never walked anywhere in my life. This stage today is from the Beech Tree Inn up into the signpost, which I'll talk about a bit later. It's 8 miles there, 8 miles back, that's 16 miles. And that's possibly the longest I've ever walked. So I'm a complete amateur, and of course, I'm approaching 50 and I've decided I'm going to walk the West Highland Way, but I know I won't be able to do it. I've watched the YouTube videos of guys, and the ladies I should say, doing the West Highland Way in 5 days, 6 days, and it's 100 miles. I've not got the time to do that. I've got a busy family life. I can't just disappear for 5 days. I also know that I wouldn't be able to do it. I'm not good in wild camping. I've not got all the equipment. And basically, I don't want to take a shovel with me in my toilet. So I decided I'm going to do the West Highland Way in stages this year. And if I get the knack for it, then maybe I will try and do it non-stop. I realise I'm cheating a bit because part of the experience of doing the West Highland Way is to do it in the winter. But what's the point in doing that if I know I'm going to fail? So I've came out here. This is now a February morning. The last stage I did was actually stage 3. I'd done that with my children back in August. Today it's February. I chose a February day because I wanted to actually get the experience of doing it in bad weather, and of course the weather's not complied. It is such a beautiful day. So I've just started at the Beech Tree Inn and we're on the back of the old, oh no, I'm going to have to cut it here because I can't remember the name of the railway. I'm just going to pause for a minute because I keep talking about all these old railways and I think a quick map will explain what's going on. The Edinburgh and Glasgow Railway built an intercity railway from Glasgow to Edinburgh. They then built this extension from Lenzie to Lennoxtown, and this was called the Campsie branch. This branch was extended to nearly Killearn or Dumgoyne, and this part was called the Blane Valley Railway. This is what we ended up walking along in the Stage 1 video. Meanwhile, in 1856, the Forth and Clyde Junction Railway built a line from Balloch at the foot of Loch Lomond to Stirling. The idea of this was to transport coal from the coalfields in Fife to the harbour at Bowling on the River Clyde, but by the time it was built, Bowling was reducing in importance, so it became just another rural line with hardly any passengers. It stayed independent until the railways were merged into the Big Four in 1923, but it was under the sphere of the North British Railway. In 1880, the Blane Valley line was extended north from Dumgoyne station, what is now the Beech Tree Inn, and this extension was called the Strathendrick and Aberfoyle Railway. This line briefly merged with Forth and Clyde Junction just north of Gartness, and it shared a track through Balfron and Bucclivie before splitting off to Aberfoyle. After closure to passengers in 1951 and then totally in 1959, the lines have been repurposed for other uses. The West Highland Way walks on the back of the Strathendrick and Aberfoyle from Dumgoyne to Gartness, and it provides this lovely flat walking route. So the route today is, well, it's not paved, but it's very good quality, and as you just saw there's a cyclist running along it, occasional puddle, not muddy at all. We're on the back of what's the old Strathendrick and Aberfoyle Railway. This railway actually closed in 1959, way before the beaching cuts. It does mean you can get up to a good speed on it. There's no hills so far, I'm going to regret that statement. And if you're a family, I think this is a really good walk, and the scenery, it's pretty good already, I'd say. Turn up the beat. Meanwhile, parts of the Forth and Clyde Junction Railway near Gartness are used by the National Cycling Network, Route 7. The track near Aberfoyle is also used for walking and cycling routes. And finally, parts of the Blane Valley Railway, as seen here in my first video, are used for the water pipeline. Famously, Glasgow's water supply comes via Victorian engineers building an aqueduct from Loch Katrine to Glasgow. However, a backup system was built in the 1960s. This takes water from Loch Lomond and this pipeline runs for several miles beside or underneath the West Highland Way. At this point the weather moved in, rain and hailstones. It was 4 seasons in one day, and served as a reminder to me that in Scotland, especially in February, it can always have this little bite, and my choice of clothing wasn't the best. The mist sitting in the glen gave a depth to the view and an ethereal light, which had to be enjoyed in person because my camera was not capable of doing it justice. I returned exactly 1 week later to capture this blue sky drone footage. We're now in the hills above Drymen where we find the Garadbhan Forest. This is an interesting crossroads. The West Highland Way crosses east to the west. Meanwhile, the National Cycle Route 7 from Carlisle to Inverness runs south to north. This is something of a hidden gem. There's a car park at this spot which gives great access for both the West Highland Way and the National Cycling Route. Since discovering it, I've brought my family back here several times to explore the forests and go for a cycle. It's always quiet, with only a few dog walkers, or walkers. It can also be used as a starting point for climbing Conic Hill, avoiding the busy honeypot site at Balmaha. It is an approved stay the night location run by the Forestry Commission for responsible campervan owners. So this won't be an issue by the time these videos are posted, but this says here that Conic Hill path is closed until April 2023. And just to point out, we are here just now, and we're going to walk up to that point there. That's going to be a signpost where I'm going to turn back. And the road from Conic Hill down to Balmaha is currently shut. In video 3, which has already been filmed, I'll start there, we walk along the low road to the signpost, and then we walk back that way to Conic Hill. So it's closed just now, and I'm quite glad it has been, because when I filmed it in August, it was in not a very good state, let's say. So hopefully we'll be doing some nice works to it, and it's very, very well used and possibly abused, especially by, I saw some bikes on it that possibly shouldn't have been on it. So we've just climbed up into the forest above Balmaha. That's our first sight of Loch Lomond behind me. And I've now got the hat on because it's turned just a bit chilly. It's now 2:30 in the afternoon. I just wanted to quickly say about what I'm actually wearing today, because I'm an amateur. I've not gone on any great distance walk before, and this is a learning experience for me. Maybe one day after I do this in stages, I will actually try and do the West Highland Way the proper way in 5-6 days and get the tent on the back if I have to go and buy a tent. But for now, I'm wanting to do it in stages. I want to learn. I want to do it as an amateur. So I've deliberately dressed as an amateur today. This is a golf hat. I've got my standard ski jacket on. Starting to regret that because I was expecting a cold day and it ended up being a beautiful day, and it's been far too hot with this jacket on. Standard hoodie on here, and down below, as you may see, I'm actually wearing jeans, and those are trespass hiking shoes. Now, I didn't buy the hiking shoes especially for this. My job means that I have to stand on my feet quite a lot of the day, and it's a one concession I do in the office. I wear hiking shoes in the office. So they've actually turned out to be a godsend. My feet are really comfortable with those on. The jeans, well, I always wear jeans when I'm not working, so I thought, let's make a mistake and try wearing jeans. I wasn't going to go out and buy a pair of trousers specifically for doing this project. Now I've learned from this, I might go and do that for some of the later stages. But now climbing up the hill and enjoying the views, even though I've seen these views many times before, never seen it from this angle. Conic Hill there fills the view ahead. Must be quite foreboding. At least I know that I'm not going to be climbing that today. If I'd already done 20 miles from Milngavie and knew that I had to climb Conic Hill to get to the campsite on the other side, not too sure I would be picking that route. I think I might be going the low road down to Balmaha. So, pleased to say, made it to halfway point. My watch says I've done 14 kilometres. It's a bit more than I thought. I thought it was going to be a bit less than this. So to explain where we are, we've just come down that road there from Drymen, and we've got a choice. Here is the signpost. Down that way goes to Balmaha on the low road. That's where I'm going to come from 6 months ago. And this here is the high road, which goes to Conic Hill, which is there in the distance. You notice it's now closed off. So the last thing I need to do is go and touch the post. Yay! Let's go back. So I've turned back for home. I've now done 16 kilometres. It was about 14.7 kilometres at the signpost. A bit further than I thought. But I think I measured it wrong in Google Maps on the way here. So what has struck me actually on the way back is as we've got the lovely views of Loch Lomond behind me, is how little I looked back. And what I'm thinking is, I read that there's 150,000 people a year approximately do the West Highland Way, but only 36,000 of them actually walk the entire length from start to finish in the one go. And so this series of videos is for the silent majority who only do stages of it. And what it got me thinking was, most of the people doing the West Highland Way start off at Milngavie and end up at Fort William. And what they're missing is because they're always facing that way, and they're missing the views coming back the way. And I didn't look behind me when I was walking here, and I'm missing these lovely views of the Campsie Fells as we're walking south. Anyway, share our thoughts on our walking path. Hello. How do you moo? I got a little scratch against the fence, up against the tree, aren't you? Cows are just big dogs. So it's getting quite dark. I'm not sure how much the camera actually shows how gloomy it's getting. Certainly the cars behind me there, they've all got their headlights on. I'm back on the old Strathendrick and Aberfoyle Railway. So it's nice flat route back down to the, what's it called again? Beech Tree Inn, Beech Tree Tavern, Beech Tree something, Beech Tree Cafe. So not long to go, about 4 kilometres to go. I certainly didn't intend to be walking back in the dark. I've seen a lot of YouTube videos where people have bitten off more than they can chew, where they think they want to make it all the way from Milngavie to Balmaha in the one stage, and they arrive in the dark and have to pitch a tent in the dark. This isn't going to be my case because I've not got a tent to pitch. I'm just going back to the car. I also didn't bite off more than I could chew because what happened is I set off an hour later than I expected. I expected to be back down at the car at 5, I'm going to be back down at the car at 6. It's just sunsets at 5:10. However, my thoughts on today's journey, this is the longest walk I think I've ever done. Could be, apart from around Disney World, that's quite a walk. My feet are not too bad. Maybe next time I'll choose a different pair of socks. My hips are starting to get a bit sore. I'm 46. What can you do, eh? So in total I'm expecting to do about 19 miles today, about 30 kilometres. That's comfortably going to be my limit. When I'm planning out, I do not want to walk any more than that because I'm starting to feel like I'm certainly glad that I'm not going to be walking tomorrow anyway. Has it put me off doing full stages? Absolutely not. In fact, the first stage and the second stage are probably the 2 stages with I don't want to say the worst, but the most normal scenery. The stages coming up are certainly going to be spectacular, so I am really looking forward to that. So I'm just going to try and push on as quickly as I can and get back to the car. Well, wasn't expecting this on the way home. At least I can see where I'm going now. I know what it was. Maybe somebody's tent pitched it in the wrong land. There we go. And there's a dog. Good boy. Had a good day. Bye-bye. made it back to the car just south of the Beech Tree Inn. 6:30 at night, it's pitch black. I've done the last 2 miles in complete darkness, so maybe future investment will be a head torch because I couldn't use my phone, the battery was dead. So my watch says I have done 28 kilometres, so that's roughly 20 miles, and that's stage 2 out of the way. And if this light goes off, that'll be a great place to end this video. Perfect.